A couple of years ago, the Archdiocese at our priest conferences thought we should get to know each other better. So they had us play little games. I'm not a real big game guy. And then do, answering some questions. So we would just get to know. So they'd split us into little groups where we didn't really know each other well to try and get to know each other. Like, okay, let's see if anybody can win this game really quick. Name the 12 apostles. First one wins. And I think, well, I can name them all, but it's going to take me a few minutes here. I can Google it and get it really fast. But okay, then the next one is, so which one of the apostles do you relate to? Well, this is a bunch of priests sitting around, of course. None of us are going to say Matthew, or nobody's going to say Judas. That would be terrible. So Peter and John, they get most of it. But I think, since The Chosen, now we get enfleshed these characters. And so somebody might say Andrew, or I really like Nathaniel. But otherwise, we don't know much about them, except that we have a name and a handful of things that they do. But I was thinking maybe in this little gathering, some of us should say Thomas. How about Thomas? But none of us did, in my little group anyway. Maybe it's some of the other groups. Somebody said Thomas. I don't think Thomas is a bad person. I know in The Chosen, they give him a romantic experience, which doesn't end well. But it's to try and give him some reason why he might be doubting, even before what we hear about in today's gospel. And I don't think he needs that. I have this theory, and you've heard it before, but I'm going to repeat it. Because I think if I repeat it enough, some scripture scholar is going to pick it up and say, yes, that is where it comes from. And I think it all comes from the nickname that Jesus gave him. Because Jesus was big with nicknames. And so Simon, he gives the nickname Peter, Rocky, Little Rock, snored. And so it's at night, they're going around village to village. And Jesus is kept up all night. In the morning, he's having his coffee. Morning sons of thunder. It was thundering all night long with your snoring. So to Thomas, he gives the name Didymus, Aramaic for twin. So the scholars all say, well, because he was probably a twin. That's why he had that name. And I think, no, it's because he looked like Jesus. So Jesus always said, there's my twin, Didymus. I see him there. And so when Jesus is crucified, what does Thomas do? He hides. Of course, because he looks like Jesus. So he's not even around when Jesus makes his first appearance, because he's in deeper hiding. So that's Damian's theory. Take it or leave it. No scholar has picked it up yet, but that's my thinking. But poor Thomas, because every year we have this gospel. So every year he gets raked over the coals with his disbelief. But I think the story is remembered for a couple reasons. And it doesn't have to do with Thomas's doubt. Only in the sense that his doubt is just like yours and just like mine. Because don't we all struggle at times with belief? Isn't that just kind of part of it? When people confess it, that they have doubts, I often say to them, I don't think that's a sin. Because that's just kind of part of believing. I would say in the gospel today, that first part of what happens there where Thomas sees Jesus and says, "My Lord," that's not belief. That's seeing. He saw him. And so, oh my gosh, it's Jesus. He wanted to see for sure that this was the same Jesus, not some ghost who's showing up. But this is a guy who has holes in his hands and his feet and his side. So yes, it's the same one. That's not belief, that's knowledge. He's right here. Touch him. Belief is when you don't have proof. That's why you're believing. If you have proof, it's knowledge. His next thing is belief. Because Thomas says, "My God." And no one else says that but Thomas. Others say, "You're the Son of God, you're the Christ, you're the Messiah." But Thomas says, "You're God." That's belief. Because he doesn't have proof of that. That's the leap that has to take place. And that's what all of us do with faith. We're given the gift of faith from God, but we make a leap at some point. We don't have proof. We jump into that with God's help. We make that leap and say, "This is what I'm going to believe. I believe Jesus Christ was God." Because we don't have proof, doubt is part of that belief. It's just there. And the evil one keeps poking at it in us because we don't have proof. It doesn't mean our feelings, our belief isn't strong. We can have very strong belief and still carry these doubts with us. So I think it's in there to say to you, hey, don't be afraid of Jesus when you're doubting. Jesus isn't mad about the doubt. He doesn't yell at Thomas. He's patient. He welcomes him. Poke me. Touch me. And that's what he does for you and me. It's okay. Keep searching. Keep striving. Keep asking. Keep poking. So that you can believe. And then you're holy, as Jesus tells us today. Blessed are you. Holy are you. God is with you when you can make that leap. Yeah. The other reason why I think it's in there is because people have too many experiences of ghosts. And you all probably know people who've seen ghosts. Maybe you've seen ghosts. All those people have experiences of near death, seeing people who've died. There's lots of that. This is not that. That's why the story is there. To make sure you know Jesus is not a ghost. And he's very clear about that. See that I'm not a ghost. Touch me. I'm real. I have a body. Glorified, but wounded. He's hungry. He eats. Somehow he goes through walls. I'm not sure how that works. But he's not a ghost. It's real. He is risen from the dead. And he continues to come into our lives and to continue to proclaim to us his message. After being crucified and hurt and abandoned and betrayed, his message to them was peace. And so it is to us, in spite of all of our doubts. His message is peace.